Before billion-dollar arenas with luxury lounges and LED floors, some NBA teams played in places that'll make you do a double take. The most embarrassing one? A literal pyramid. But that wasn't even the weirdest. How about games in livestock halls or arenas with leaky roofs? Some courts were so uneven, the ball actually rolled on its own. In one spot, players ran up and down a floor that sloped like a hill. Not exactly regulation. Today, we're diving into the most bizarre and downright embarrassing arenas in NBA history, from stadiums that barely fit 1,000 fans to places where players had to duck under pipes mid-game. Why were these ever allowed? Stick around, you won't believe what comes next. Welcome to Big Builds. Here's a version with small enhancements, focusing on making numbers stand out as words and keeping your style intact. The Memphis Pyramid, where basketball went to die. Let's kick things off with one of the most infamous arena flops in NBA history, the Pyramid in Memphis. From the outside, it looked like something straight out of ancient Egypt, a massive glass and steel triangle towering over the Mississippi River. It was bold, it was different. It was a terrible place to play basketball. Built in 1991 and adopted by the Memphis Grizzlies in 2001, the Pyramid was supposed to be a modern marvel. But once the game started, the flaws were impossible to ignore. The acoustics were so bad that crowd noise just bounced around aimlessly. The lighting made the court feel dim and uneven, and the seating angles left fans craning their necks just to follow the action. Players weren't fans either. The locker rooms were so cramped that they had to stretch in the hallways. Some even said the arena felt cursed. And maybe it was. The Grizzlies lasted just 3 seasons there before packing up and heading to a proper home. So what became of this architectural oddity? It's now a giant Bass Pro Shop. That's right. The same court where Pau Gasol once played is now filled with ATVs, stuffed animals, and fishing gear. You can't make this stuff up. Chicago Amphitheater, where livestock meets layups. Before the Bulls turned the United Center into a basketball fortress, they were stuck playing in one of the most ridiculous venues in NBA history, the International Amphitheater. And get this, it was originally built for livestock shows. Yep, the same place where cattle were paraded around became home to a professional basketball team. Cows one week, jump shots the next. This was the late 1960s, and calling the setup makeshift would be generous. The building still smelled like hay. The court was laid over a surface meant for animals, so it felt uneven and unstable underfoot. The lighting was poor, the seating was awkward, and some fans were so far off to the side, they had a better view of the concession stands than the court. Players didn't exactly feel like professionals either. To reach the court, they had to walk through narrow corridors still littered with remnants of livestock auctions. Think hay, manure, and the occasional odd smell. Imagine trying to get in the zone for a game while dodging the scent of barn animals. It was surreal. The Bulls quickly moved on, and for good reason. The fact that an NBA team once called that place home? Honestly, it's more shocking than a full-court buzzer beater. Detroit Olympia, wooden dome disaster. Before the Pistons moved into iconic venues like the Palace or Little Caesars Arena, they were stuck playing in one of the strangest NBA arenas ever, Olympia Stadium. This wasn't just outdated. It was a wooden dome built for hockey, not hoops. And it showed. The lighting inside was wildly inconsistent, bright in some spots, dim in others. The wooden ceiling creaked constantly, adding a weird soundtrack to every game. And the court? Let's just say calling it slippery would be polite. Players regularly complained about poor traction, slipping and sliding like they were playing on a skating rink. Not exactly ideal for fast breaks and tight crossovers. But here's the part that really makes you scratch your head. The sightlines were so bad, fans sitting in the upper rows literally couldn't see the far basket. Entire sections of the court disappeared depending on where you were sitting. It was like trying to watch an NBA game through a keyhole. This was the 1960s, and Detroit fans deserved a real basketball experience. Instead, they got weird echoes, bad lighting, and a whole lot of creaky wood. It's no wonder the Pistons couldn't wait to get out. But hey, at least they weren't dealing with actual animals in the hallways. The San Diego Sports Arena, home of the invisible fans. Once upon a time, San Diego actually had an NBA team, the Clippers. But if you blinked, you might have missed it. Why? Because their home, the San Diego Sports Arena, was one of the most forgettable venues in league history. From the outside, it looked like a giant concrete bunker. On the inside, not much better. The arena was dimly lit, with gray walls and zero personality. The acoustics were awful. Every sneaker squeak or referee whistle bounced around like you were stuck inside a parking garage. And don't get us started on the sound system. Announcements sounded like they were coming from a drive-through speaker in a wind tunnel. The seats were an unforgivable shade of neon orange, pure 1970s chaos. And half the time, those seats were empty. The fans just didn't show up. Maybe it was the lack of winning, or maybe it was the depressing vibe of the place. Either way, the energy was low, the games were quiet, and the atmosphere felt more like a high school gym on a slow night. Eventually, the Clippers packed up and moved to LA, and honestly, who could blame them? The San Diego Sports Arena went on to host monster truck shows, which actually felt like a better fit. Seattle Center Coliseum, the leaking roof nightmare. Ah yes, the Seattle Center Coliseum, home of the beloved Sonics, and buckets of rainwater. Seattle rains. A lot. So you'd think someone would have figured out how to build a basketball arena with a proper roof. Nope. This place leaked like a sieve. Games were delayed because puddles formed on the court. The hardwood literally warped in some places. And the ventilation system? Let's just say the arena doubled as a sauna during warm games. Fans sweating, players slipping. It was a mess. Even when the Sonics were good, the building wasn't. And yet, nostalgia blinds people from just how embarrassing this arena really was. Market Square Arena, brick walls and nosebleeds. The Pacers used to call Market Square Arena home, and while fans have fond memories, the place had issues. The brick exterior was weirdly imposing, like a prison with basketball inside. But the real problem was the nosebleeds. The upper deck was so far from the court, some fans literally brought binoculars. The building echoed, and the scoreboard was stuck in the 1970s. Players often talked about how dead the atmosphere felt. It was like playing in a warehouse, a very tall, very cold, very gray warehouse. Buffalo Memorial Auditorium, the coldest arena ever. When the Braves were still in Buffalo, they played at the Buffalo Memorial Auditorium, nicknamed The Odd. It had one job: be warm and functional. It failed at both. The heating system barely worked. Players wore jackets on the bench. Fans brought blankets, and this was indoors. The court often felt like it was in an ice rink, because it kind of was. The hockey setup underneath didn't help. Plus, the locker rooms were ancient. Rusty pipes, cracked tiles, flickering lights. It was basically a horror movie set with a hoop. Buffalo lost its team in 1978. The AU'd was demolished in 2009. Honestly, it should have been condemned earlier. Tulsa Convention Center, the 10-day mistake. Ever heard of the Tulsa Convention Center? Don't worry, almost no one has. But for 10 days in 2005, it was briefly home to the New Orleans Hornets, who had to evacuate due to Hurricane Katrina. While the circumstances were tragic, the venue choice was questionable. It had bad sightlines, a hollow echo, and a scoreboard that looked like it came from a garage sale. The Hornets couldn't wait to leave, and Tulsa never hosted another NBA game, probably for the best. The Boston Garden, legendary but disgusting? We couldn't end this list without mentioning the Boston Garden. Yes, it's iconic. Yes, it saw legends like Larry Bird and Bill Russell, but it was also kind of gross. No air conditioning, rat sightings, wooden floorboards that creaked like a pirate ship. And don't forget the dead spots, places on the floor where the ball just stopped bouncing. Magic Johnson hated it. So did everyone else not wearing green and white. Legendary? Absolutely. Embarrassing by today's standards? Oh, 100%. It's wild to think the NBA, a multi-billion-dollar empire, once ran games in buildings that smelled like cows, had leaking ceilings, or were literally shaped like pyramids. but that's part of what makes the league's history so crazy and entertaining. Some of these arenas are long gone. Others still stand as Bass Pro Shops, parking lots, or faint memories in fans' minds. But they all remind us how far the NBA has come, from squeaky wooden domes to 8K jumbotrons and courtside sushi. If you loved this trip through the NBA's most embarrassing arenas, hit that like button, subscribe for more stadium stories, and drop a comment with the worst arena you've ever been to. We read them all. This is Big Builds, and we'll see you in the next one.